Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to today's webinar. My name is Adelaide White. I'm the Membership Development and Executive at CIBSE. I'm joined by my colleagues, Gillian Francis and Emma Linane. They're going to be helping with questions throughout the presentation and then also at the Q&A at the end. Just going to kind of cover what we're going to talk about during the next 30 minutes or so. I'm going to talk through what it means to be a Fellow of CIBSE and the benefits that come with that. I'm going to break down CIBSE's corporate grades and the main routes to CIBSE membership and Engineering Council registration. We're going to go over the academic requirements specific to Ceng. We're going to go through the application process, addressing competencies in detail and how to go about preparing your FCIBSE application. And then finally, we're going to touch upon the fast track route to FCIBSE, also known as the member to fellow route. There will be a Q&A at the end. So if you do have any questions, you're welcome to wait till the end of the presentation to ask them. Alternatively, Emma will be answering questions throughout. So you can type your questions in the chat bar and she will be able to help you. Okay, so jumping right in. So just to talk about what it means to have fellowship with CIBSE. So the key difference between MCIBSE and FCIBSE is essentially that of one's contribution to industry. So an FCIBSE is someone who actively is involved in promoting the profession of building services engineering. Okay, so fellowship's the most senior grade that CIBSE offer, and with it you're expected to have reached a position of greater and superior responsibility within your organisation and within the field. You'd essentially have you'd be accountable for decisions on the design, management and financial implications of engineering projects. You'd need to show expertise in one or more specialist sectors. And then finally, you're expected to have a greater understanding of the broader field of building services engineering. So eligibility for FCIBSE requires great technical and commercial leadership and interpersonal skills. And FCIBSE is someone who essentially writes projects that have shaped the future of the industry. This could be through leads on groundbreaking industry projects. This could be through leading company accreditation. And FCIBSE is also somebody who provides advice and mentoring to others in the profession in building services. So this could be by mentoring company graduates. This could be by being actively involved in graduate training and development schemes. This could be through maintaining links with universities, by offering work placements and such. And FCIBSE is also somebody who supports their colleagues and their staff members with their professional development. So, you know, of course, by offering CPD talks within a company, for example, or simply just by mentoring your employees. Okay, and FCIBSE is also somebody who attends career events and someone who helps encourage young people to join industry. So, you know, again, this could include your links with universities, or, you know, this could include providing work experience opportunities to students, to graduates. And finally, an FCIBSE is really someone who works with CIBSE and with other professional engineering institutes. So this could be by, you know, sitting on CIBSE panels or working groups, by volunteering with your CIBSE region, by speaking at events as a keynote speaker or an industry expert, and so on. So when writing your contribution to industry report, which we'll go through a bit later on in the presentation, you'll need to address at least 3 of the above 5 areas. Okay. So as most of you know, CIBSE has several entry-level grades and corporate grades, our sort of higher corporate grades being that of associate, member and fellow. So our corporate grades come with an additional set of benefits as they act as a level of professional recognition. So there is an assessment of your competence as part of the application process of these grades. And at the end, you're able to use the CIBSE post-nominals, so ACIBSE, MCIBSE, FCIBSE. And then you have the option to gain Engineering Council registration alongside them too. So to explain to those of you who don't know, and then remind those of you who do, the Engineering Council hold the Register of Professional Engineers in the UK. And CIBSE, we are licensed and regulated by the Engineering Council to grant levels of professional registration within the field of building services. So just to clarify, CIBSE's associate grade allows you to gain Incorporated Engineer or IEng. And CIBSE's member grade and fellow grades allow you to gain chartership or Ceng alongside them. So moving right along to cover the two main routes to membership and registration. So we have the standard route and we have the alternative route. I'm going to go over the standard route right now. So if you have accredited qualifications, you would go via a standard route to gain FCIBSE and EC registration. So essentially you would submit an application along with an engineering practice report. You would attend a professional review interview. The results of your interview would essentially go to CIBSE's registration panel. And then if successful, you would gain both your FCIBSE and your Ceng, so both your membership and your Engineering Council registration. Okay, so to clarify, it's a one-step process to gain both FCIBSE and Ceng. The alternative route works a little bit differently. Okay, so similarly to the standard route, you have the same first step. So you'd submit your application form and your engineering practice report. You would attend a competence review interview. Your results would, the results of the interview would then go to the CIBSE members and registration panel. And then if successful, you would just gain your FCIBSE. Okay, you would then have to take a second step as part of the alternative route if you want to continue on to gain Ceng registration or chartership. Okay, so the second step essentially gives you two options. Okay, the first option is you can write a technical report as part of the technical report route. You would attend an interview. The results of the interview would go to the CIBSE registration panel, and then you would gain your Engineering Council registration after that. Okay, the second part of the second step, the second option rather, is you can go back and you can complete that further learning. So you can gain that accredited qualification that you didn't have originally when you applied. Okay, and then the rest is very similar. You'd have your interview, your results would be sent to the registration panel, and then you would gain your Engineering Council registration. Okay, if you don't have the academic requirements, you can still absolutely achieve registration. You just need to take that additional step. So do bear that in mind. Okay, and between the two steps, as part of the alternative route, most applicants do opt for the technical report route, as it costs a lot less money and a lot less time in the long run. So just breaking down what's required in the technical report route. So again, if you do not hold the accredited qualifications, but you do have the academic knowledge in place of that qualification, this is the right route for you. Okay, and how it works is initially you would submit a synopsis that outlines a technical problem, a project that you've encountered, and the methods that you've used to overcome any issues faced with that specific project or problem. Okay, the goal of this is to demonstrate your knowledge of fundamental principles of engineering. Okay, your synopsis is then submitted to the ICP panel, so that's CIBSE's individual case procedures panel. Okay, once this is approved, you can then start writing your report. All right. Just bear in mind the type of qualification that you hold will determine the number of words in your technical report. Okay, you can still apply without qualifications. You would just write a longer report. Okay, if you're not sure, if you want to find out more about your specific experience, your specific qualifications, just contact a member of the team and we'll be able to help you. Okay, your final report will then be submitted to and approved by CIBSE's interviewers. And then you'd be granted an interview to discuss that report in person or virtually now. And then finally, the interviewer's comments are passed over to CIBSE's registration panel, and if successful, you'd gain your Engineering Council registration. Okay, if you want more information, you can look at our website, or you can just contact one of us and we'll be able to walk you through it on the phone. Okay, so just to cover how we assess you versus how the Engineering Council assess you. So to gain CIBSE Fellow, we assess you purely on your competence and your professional experience. Okay, so we give you a set of competencies to adhere to and write a report on, and that's how you would gain your membership with CIBSE. The Engineering Council looks specifically at your academic qualifications. Okay, so just remember, if you don't have the academic qualifications, that is fine. You can still gain membership. You just go through that alternative route. Okay, so going on to the academic requirements for Ceng now. If you have a qualification that you obtained before 1999, that would need to be an accredited bachelor's in engineering to be able to apply for FCIBSE Ceng via the standard route. If your degree is after 1999, you would need either an accredited MEng or an accredited BEng Hons with a master's. If you have an international qualification, we would look on the Washington Accord to confirm its accreditation. If you've got a European qualification, we would address the FIANI database for a second cycle degree. And then again, as I've said, if it's not accredited, just contact one of us and we can help you. So as part of the FCIBSE application, we look at your competence and your commitment to building services engineering. So essentially, the Engineering Council have set out a list of competence criteria for each grade, and all applicants are required to meet this list of competencies as part of the process of applying for membership and registration. Okay, so for FCIBSE, you've got 17 criteria that you need to address in your engineering practice report. Okay, I'm not going to go through each of the competencies today because we'd be here for hours. I'm just going to sort of group them and explain what they're asking for per criteria section. Okay, so to start, Section A and Section B are all about your technical skills and your engineering knowledge and how you apply these throughout your daily role as an engineer. Section C, quite simply, is looking at your technical and your commercial leadership or management skills and how you handle responsibilities at work, how you deal with tasks, how you deal with colleagues and clients, etc. Section D is all about your communication and your interpersonal skills. So how you liaise with clients, how you address your colleagues, how you address your boss, and how you go about communicating throughout projects that you're working on. Section E is all about your commitment to engineering. So how you comply with CIBSE's Code of Conduct, how you understand and practice the health and safety rules and guidelines, how you keep yourself up to date with CPD, for example. Are you logging your CPD in the journal every month? Those are just examples. So again, there are 17 criteria that you need to address as part of FCIBSE for your report. So let's take a closer look at the documentation that's required for your application. So remember, the application for FCIBSE for new applicants and those transferring from affiliate, licentiate and associate is as follows. So you need to submit your application form with your sponsor's requirement. Okay, so just a note on your sponsor. Your sponsor will need to sign off on your application and your qualifications if you're going via the standard route. Okay, they also need to complete the sponsor section in your application. Okay, you need to know your sponsor for at least a year professionally, and they need to be at the same level of membership or higher that you're applying for. The same level of membership or engineering council registration, sorry. Okay, you also need to include your work experience sort of listing, so your CV in chronological order if possible. You need to include your EPR, your engineering practice report. This is a 4,000 to 5,000 word report covering the 17 competencies. You would need to include your organization chart, so where you fit within your company. And then finally, you need to include a development action plan. So this is a listing of your short, your medium, and your long-term goals. Okay, if you'd like more information on this is on our website. You can go to any of the sort of links just listed on the slide there for more guidance on the application process for FCIBSE. So, moving on to the member to fellow transfer fast track route. Okay, this fast track route is for those who already hold MCIBSE and are looking to upgrade from MCIBSE to FCIBSE. Okay, you do not need to hold engineering council registration to apply for the fast track route. You just need to hold member grade. Okay, so just like the standard route, you would submit your application and your work experience report or your report outlining your contribution to industry. You also include your CPD over the past 2 years. There is no interview required for this route because it's a fast track route, but your report will be reviewed by the CIBSE's members and registration panel. And then if you're successful, you gain your fellowship. Okay, the application process for the fast track route is much like the standard route in terms of what's required, with documents. So you'd have your application form with the same sponsor requirements as I've mentioned previously. You would include your contribution to industry report. Okay, you do not need to refer to the 17 competencies as you would in the standard route, but it is useful to keep this on hand as a guide of reference. All right. In terms of length, we would expect to see a minimum of 2,000 words. Okay. You'd also need to include your organization chart. So again, where you fit within your company. And then you'd need to include your continued professional development. So your CPD from the past 2 years in chronological order. And then if you want more information, you can find it at the below links. If you have questions, though, just contact a member of the team and we'll be able to help. Okay, so CIBSE can support you in various different ways. So the first being our membership application workshops. These are essentially half-day workshops that usually run at CIBSE HQ in Balham, but of course we're going to be making these virtual from now on. These are run by CIBSE interviewers and they go through the report criteria in detail. So if you're just starting off writing your report, this would be really good to get you started. We also have sample reports online. These are all available on our website for you to look at for free. They are competence-based and project-based as well. And there are also work experience reports for fast tracks too. We also have phone surgeries. These are 1-hour slots with a CIBSE interviewer. You go through a draft of your EPR and they sort of give you feedback on the phone, really sort of in-depth feedback about your report and about what to do exactly before that next closing date. Finally, we have biannual closing date surgeries. These are held usually in January, the beginning of January and the beginning of July. Okay, so 1 month before closing date. These are 20-minute slots that you get face-to-face with a CIBSE interviewer. And they have a chance to review your report or a section of your report if you'd prefer and give you feedback. And these are free to attend.